silk on my collarbones. I stood barefoot on the cold parquet floor, which smelled of wood and dust. In the dim photo studio air, a mixture of the aroma of coffee and the barely perceptible crackle of the spotlights hung. On my skin, a sheer, ivory silk suit fastened at the back with an almost weightless zipper. The photographer, Maxim, lifted a strand of my hair so it didn't cover my collarbones. His fingers were warm, firm, yet surprisingly gentle, and barely touched my skin. At that moment, the only sound was the click of the camera. My phone vibrated on the table. The screen lit up brightly in the darkness. Payment successful, restaurant terrace, table for two. Time 9:07 p.m. My husband, Oleg, certainly wasn't sitting in a restaurant with me today. At least not with me. Turn a little to the left, Maxim said calmly, with a look that saw more than it showed. Put your hand on your hip, but don't press. Let the fabric slide down on its own. Perfect. One more breath. I obeyed. The silk slid over my skin as if it were warm water. The shoot was essentially demure, almost tame. It was more hints than revelations. And yet the air around us became heavier, thicker. My breath suddenly felt like a decision. My name is Nadya. I am 36 years old. I was married to Oleg for 12 years. We have a daughter, Olja, 9 years old, who paints the sky with watercolors as if you could live in it. I work as a copywriter and designer for small brands, labels, packaging, small cards. Things that people might only hold for a minute but that still stick in their memory. Oleg manages a hotel complex. Shift schedules, overtime. I'll call back later. Our marriage was quiet. A shared Spotify account, Sunday Sieniki evening series with tea. And amidst all of this, a growing, hard-to-explain silence. The shoot was a gift to myself. No lose 5 kilos by summer. No make yourself pretty for him. No, I wanted to see myself. Not just a mother, not just an employee. A woman who likes her skin and allows herself to be beautiful without anyone's permission. Maxim photographed tactfully. Don't smile, he said. Just breathe. Let your eyes speak, your lips can rest. Sometimes he corrected my posture, barely touching my skin, 2 centimeters lower than friends would. Stretch a little, as if an invisible thread were holding you to the sky. And it was amazing how a single finger on my shoulder gave my body back its voice. My phone vibrated again. White lilies, delivery confirmed. I pressed my lips together. White lilies smell so strong it's almost suffocating. I hated them. Oleg knew that. Why was he ordering them? For whom? Are you okay? Maxim asked quietly. Yes, I just need some water. He handed me a glass. His fingers brushed mine, a barely perceptible contact, yet every cell in my body responded. Suddenly, I remembered I had a body at all. How silk feels a palm, how skin responds to warmth, how breathing speaks with a pose. We'll take a short break, he said. After that, we'll try linen and daylight. It'll be softer. Softer, the word resonated with me. I hadn't heard it in too long. Home smelled of laundry detergent with lavender and vanilla tobacco. Tobacco, neither of us smoked. On the table were 2 wine glasses, one with a dark lipstick imprint. A gray man's jacket hung on the chair with a subtle embroidery on the sleeve. A halved lime lay on the kitchen counter. We hadn't had a drink with lime in years. You're early, Oleg said, stepping out of the bathroom in a new too-clean t-shirt. Photo shoot. MHM. So how was it? Okay, I'm tired. I have a checkup at the hotel tomorrow. I'll be late, don't wait. He kissed me fleetingly on the temple, as one would complete a formality, and disappeared into the shower. I stood in front of the glass and ran my finger over the lipstick mark. A red I didn't possess. I didn't ask any questions. Questions invite lies. Instead, I opened my eyes. Maxim texted me that evening, "Thank you for your trust. You're very cinematic." A single word, cinematic, was enough to make something inside me perk up. For the next shoot, he suggested movement, linen sheets, soft light, bare shoulders, a knee under the silk, not revealing, aesthetic. He placed a pillow under my side to soften the lines. His fingers pushed the strap of my dress down half a centimeter. Suddenly, the world was too close. "You're shivering," he murmured. "It's the light," I joked. "No, light doesn't do that." He looked away like someone who consciously doesn't cross boundaries. The camera clicked. I closed my eyes and exhaled deeply. It was almost intimate, almost. Between us stood the lens, work, and 1,000 taboos. And yet I felt my skin as if it had a voice of its own. That evening I noticed a new pendant on old Jaz's backpack, a metal heart. "Where did you get that?" "From Aunt Lika," she yawned. "Dad took me to the terrace. She was there. I got ice cream. She looked so beautiful in white." Lika, the senior manager at Oleg's hotel. Lily's lime lipstick. The puzzle fell together. No anger, just clarity, cold as glass. "Let's try a shirt," Maxim suggested at the third shoot. He brought a white men's shirt, the cuffs slightly worn. "Please don't button it all the way. I want your neck to breathe." I put it on. The fabric slid over my collarbones as if it were woven for me. Maxim stepped back, looked through the lens, and smiled almost tenderly. "Exactly like this. Don't do anything with your hands, just let them rest." I sat on the windowsill, knees drawn up, neck bare. There was only air beside me, a warm heaviness in my chest that I couldn't hide. Maxim captured it, not his fantasy, but my truth. Then my phone vibrated. A message from Lika. "Oleg, thank you for the evening. You can listen." Apparently, wrong sending, or the world had had enough of drama. I switched on airplane mode, and myself. On Sunday, I placed a pear cake on Oleg's table, his favorite. I wore the simple black dress with a low back. Underneath, a silk ribbon that no one could see. Sometimes it's enough to know. "Sit down," I said. "Wow, what a party." He sat down, placing his phone upside down on the table as usual. "I know about Lika," I began. "About the terrace, about the lilies." He blinked, but he didn't seem surprised. "This is business." "No, this isn't business. We were just talking." The lipstick mark on the glass wasn't just conversation. Neither was the lime scent. He ran his hand over his face. "It's complicated." "No, it's simple. You were silent, I'm speaking." The silence between us was like a crystal vase, beautiful but shattered at the slightest blow. "I love you as the father of our daughter, but marriage means faith, and I don't believe you anymore." There was no remorse in his eyes, only weariness. "Do you want to leave?" "We're separating, but in a way that Alia knows. We love her both. But a home with lilies, that's no longer there." He nodded too quickly, as if trying to wipe away tears. "And this photographer?" he asked suddenly. He only showed me myself, and you showed what was missing." Divorce without war, that's like walking across a long bridge without looking down. We agreed quickly. Alia stayed with me. Oleg was given visiting hours, not spontaneous, just an hour. I didn't turn the apartment into a museum of the past. I didn't throw away his shirts. I just stopped mistaking habits for feelings. Maxim sent me the first photos. I opened the laptop and watched for a long time, light on my skin, lines I usually overlooked in the mirror. Not a hint of cheapness. Just breadth, shoulders, a look not submissive but a choice. In one image, silk slid down my knee and my heart leaped, not out of eroticism but of recognition. That's me. May I keep them? I wrote. They're yours, he replied. And one more thing, you can hear yourself, that's rare. I closed the laptop. For the first time in months, I fell asleep without waiting for someone to whisper on the balcony. A week later, Lika wrote, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin anything. I didn't reply, not out of pride, but because apologies are just like tape on broken porcelain. Oleg suddenly arrived on time, picked up Alia from school. He helped her with math. He learned to braid her hair crookedly but with such seriousness that Alia giggled and endured it. He tried to stop lying. It was his way, not mine. In the evenings, I listened to softer music, sometimes just the piano. I took the silk suit out of the drawer, smoothed it, and put it on, not for anyone else, for myself. I walked barefoot into the kitchen, felt the cold floor, took pears out of the fridge, and realized skin is also a home. Maxim asked me for one last session. It's not necessary, he said, but sometimes closure helps. The studio was empty, only one light. We took 3 photos, in a white shirt, in a black sweater, and simply with a coffee cup by the window. No silk, no poses, just eyes. That's the best, he said. Why? Because you're not acting here, you're breathing. I held the cup with both hands. It was warm and felt. I didn't need sharper images. I had found my image, not through a man, through me. Maxim touched my hand briefly, barely noticeably, like a period at the end of a sentence. Thank you. For what? For not confusing shooting with rescue. That evening, Olja and I baked cookies. She sprinkled cinnamon over them and asked seriously, Mom, would you always smile now? Always? No, that would be weird. Okay, but often. Often, yes. I kissed her nose with floury fingers. She ran into the room and fetched a brush. I wiped the table. A narrow silk ribbon lay at the edge. I wrapped it around my wrist, not so anyone would see, but so I would remember, my skin belongs to me, my boundaries, my decisions. When Oleg brought Alia 2 days later, he stopped in the doorway. You have changed, he said, not a compliment but an observation. I've become me, I replied. Does that scare you? A little. Get used to it. He nodded, tired, and left. I leaned against the door. The apartment was quiet. It smelled of coffee, of cinnamon, and of me. This silence wasn't an absence, it was my space. Sometimes the memory comes back. How silk slips down my thigh, how someone else's lipstick leaves a mark on glass, how a cell phone flashes at the wrong moment. But now, when that happens, I sit by the window, place my hands on my knees, and breathe calmly like during a photo shoot, up through my collarbones, and back to myself. And when you've read to the end, write to me. What is more intimate for you, a kiss or the truth? Do you think silk on a woman's skin can give her back her voice? I read everything. Take care of yourselves, and be careful how you are touched, including with words.